Hi guys, Miss Shouter here. We are back with The Terrible Two Get Worse by Jory, John, and Mac Barnett, illustrated by Kevin Cornell. We were on chapter 11. You put the pepper in, right? Niles asked. Yes, of course I put the pepper in. I know you did. Miles and Niles were walking across the front lawn with the rest of the class. A quick look over at the marquee revealed that the Pajama Day announcement had already been taken down. In its place, Yanni Valley Science and Letters Academy. Principal Barkin says, today is a school day. That was the craziest thing I've ever seen, Miles said. Niles just shook his head. He knew, right? Miles said. There's no way he wouldn't have tasted it. He knew. Yeah, he knew. He would have seen the pepper at the bottom of the mug. He knew. Man alive. Miles shuddered. Holly caught up with them. What's wrong? You guys look like you're the ones who got in trouble. Holly, be careful what you say in that office, Miles said. That guy's a maniac. Holly shrugged. I'll survive, she said. Honestly, I'm more upset about Sammy the safety lobster. That guy came in kindergarten. Not a great performer. Wait, are you talking about Sammy? Asked Stuart. That dude is hilarious. Holly sighed. They crossed through the school's front door. Gus was there, moving the cow to make room for the new sign. He gave the kids a shrug and a sympathetic smile. Hey, where'd Niles go? Holly asked. Miles looked around. I don't know. All right, well, later, Gator. She tucked in her shirt. Stuart, time to talk to Barkin. Aw, man! They headed down the hall toward the principal's office. But Niles Sparks had beaten them there. You again, Bertrand Barkin leaned back in his chair. Me again, said Niles. He walked back behind the desk and stood next to the principal. Principal Barkin frowned. Why are you on my side of the desk? Moreover, why are you here? Ah, Niles said. I should have explained before the assembly. I'm the school helper. You can tell because I'm wearing the sash. It says school helper. I can read, said Principal Barkin, and yet I have no idea what you're talking about. He looked at his watch. What is this all about? I have students waiting outside to be disciplined. Excellent, said Niles. In that case, I'll be brief. The school helper is a position I created to help the school run well. And why, said Principal Barkin, would I need help running the school? Even Zeus had Hermes. Barkin scowled. Zeus, said Niles, the Greek god. I'm familiar with Zeus, said Principal Barkin. Well, Hermes was, I'm familiar with Hermes. Well, you're Zeus and I'm Hermes. I can be your eyes and ears in the school. And your hands and feet too. Watching to make sure rules are followed, listening for whispers of pranks, enforcing your will. What about hands and feet? Sorry, said Niles. You said you'd be my hands and feet. Enforcing, that's my hands. And feet? Well, Niles' smile faltered. Walking, in places where you're not. Barkin just stared. Think of me as a miniature Principal Barkin, he said. It's a good idea, said Principal Barkin. Niles exhaled. He'd been worried for a second. Now he'd have access to Old Man Barkin's office, his plans, his schemes. Give me the sash, said Principal Barkin. What? Your sash. I'm relieving you of your position. But you just said it was a good idea. It is. That doesn't mean I want you to be my school helper. I'll be frank, Niles. I don't know you. I certainly don't trust you, and I don't like you. But your sash. Niles removed his sash. But I made this myself. Barkin took it. And a fine job you did, too. It should go well with Josh's eyes. They're Barkin brown. Josh? Josh Barkin, my grandson and new school helper. You can't... You're dismissed. Please send Holly Rash in. Principal Barkin took a bite of the apple Niles had given him that morning. The apple was crisp, and the bite was loud. Project 4, Scented Candles. Chapter 12. Miles and Niles were in the prank lab. It was the following Sunday, and they were in the middle of an urgent planning session. The walls were covered in sketches, diagrams, and lists. A list of possible pranks, this list was long. A list of great pizza topping, this list was even longer. A list of Old Man Barkin's weaknesses, there was nothing on this list. The problem with the pepper, Miles had his mouth full of jelly beans, is that Barker knows we pranked him, but nobody else does. Right, said Niles. He was lying on the floor with his legs up so far against the wall that he was almost upside down. I mean, does he eat a lot of spicy foods? Or, and this is a scary thought, has he trained his mouth to handle heat? Is he making himself prank proof? Maybe it's just mind over body, Niles said. It's tough, said Miles. I mean, let's say we replace one of his power speeches with blank pieces of paper. Wouldn't work. He'd just make up some amazing speech on the spot, and nobody would ever know. Yeah, said Niles. Or we could put a tack on his chair. Well, nope. I mean, he probably has spent his whole life developing super strong butt muscles that repel sharp objects. He'd just sit there and smile. If you prank someone and no one knows it, is it even a prank? Niles asked. Miles squinted at Niles. You should probably stop lying like that. I think the blood's all rushing to your head. Wouldn't that be a good thing? Said Niles. What? Well, then my brain would be getting more blood, more nutrients and oxygen. Fine, Miles was pacing. What does your well-fed brain think we should do next? Niles just lay there, legs up. Niles, said Miles. Niles! What? What are you thinking about? That sign. What sign? This sign. Yanni Valley Science and Letters Academy. It has been 001 school days since our last prank. On Thursday, after school, he'd watched Principal Barkin flip a bold black 1 down, covering up the rightmost 0. The pepper prank, a prank Niles was quite proud of, had been obliterated from Yanni Valley history. The sign in the hall, the prank sign. Okay, well, I'm trying to talk about Principal Barkin. The sign is Principal Barkin. Part of being friends with Niles Sparks is sometimes having no idea what he was talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about. It's not just a sign. It's an instrument of power, a doomsday clock. Every time he flips over a number, the closer we get to Eschaton. Eschaton? Armageddon. Catastrophe. The end. Barkin wins, we lose. Niles was making an odd expression. His eyes were unfocused while he chewed at his lip. Miles stared at his friend. He'd never seen Niles make this face before this last week, and now it was happening all the time. When had it started? When Old Man Barkin had taken Niles' sash? After Barkin swallowed the pepper coffee? Or even earlier in the library after Barry Barkin had been fired? Niles, said Miles, listen, if what you're saying is true, then maybe we don't need to prank Principal Barkin to beat Principal Barkin. We just need to stop the sign, right? Niles' eyes snapped back into focus. Right. So let's do something we know we're good at, said Miles. My friend, I believe we've been looking at the wrong Barkin. Niles flipped his feet over his head and turned to face Miles. Miles smiled. Let's prank Josh.